Okay, let's get started. Welcome to the 2026 election Youth Hustings for Senator, coming from St Paul's Centre. I'm Gwyn Garfield-Bennett. I'd just like to make you aware this has been live streamed. There are closed captions for those at home, and it will also be recorded, and you can watch the recording later. I'm going to keep this brief so you can get as much as possible because we're only here for 1 hour. Please ensure your phones are on silent so we're not interrupted by anything. Now, if you're 16 and over and eligible to vote, you can choose 9 of the 17 candidates who are available for the role of senator. Now, we've got the candidates in alphabetical order. We've got Martin Aliga, Tom Binet, Mark Boliat, Alan Brecon, Carl Bush is just over there. Unfortunately, Guy Defay couldn't be here with us this afternoon because he's got a family funeral. We have Lyndon Farnham, Ian Gorst, Serena Kirsten Guthrie, and Mary Lahegere. Then we've got Alan Lepavou, Steve Luce, Alan McLean, Sam Mesick, who is Reform Jersey. All other candidates are independent. And Helen Miles, Elaine Miller, and Bernard Place. Right, I'm not going to waste any time. We've got short 30-second speeches from each candidate, and that will then be followed by questions from you, so get your questions ready, please. These are all timed to be strictly fair, and so I'm going to kick off with speeches, and I'm going to ask Martin Aliga, please, to get us going.
Hello. Hopefully you consider voting me. I am envisioning a streamlined action policy framework for Jersey that will help transform how schools, courts, and families operate. A policy that treats child protection as a foundation, rights as a tool agency, and responsibility as a mechanism for accountability. Remember, Martin Aliga is your candidate. Thank you.
Tom Binet.
Good afternoon. I'm standing for election for another term for a number of reasons. I've initially been in infrastructure, but I've been in health for the last 2 years. We've got to finish making the health service decent, and we've got to get a new hospital built. I'd like to make government more efficient, and I've noticed a number of things that we can do towards making that happen. And I think we've got to grow the economy. That's essential. Thank you.
Mark Boliat.
I'm standing for election because I want Jersey to be a dynamic, outward-looking economy. Having a great nightlife and things to do for young people are important, but not nearly as important as an education system that's going to equip you all for the rapidly changing world of work. Jersey's education system is not bad, but it's not nearly good enough. I want to change that.
Alan Brecon.
Good afternoon. My name is Alan Brecon. I was a senator previously before, so I've already got the T-shirt. Politics does matter to you, and I'll give you 2 examples. You've got a £20 bus pass, which was a political decision, and there's also discounts for visiting your GP. Not everybody up here voted in favour of that, so you might have a look to see who didn't. Thank you.
Carl Bush. Do you want to grab a microphone, Carl?
Hi, I'm Carl Bush, and I'm a new face on the block in politics over here, but I come with a lot of experience. I'm also a social entrepreneur. Social enterprise is something that young people should really consider because it helps with development, and we need government structure behind the youth today to make the most of their opportunity.
Lyndon Farnham.
Hello, my name is Lyndon Farnham. I was born in Jersey. I've lived here all my life. I raised my family here. I'm standing for re-election because I care deeply about the kind of island we're shaping for future generations. One of the most urgent matters we face is housing. My aspiration is for an island where young people can aspire to own a home, afford to raise their families here, and stay in Jersey because you remain confident about the future. Thank you.
Ian Gorst.
Hello, I'm Ian Gorst. My current role is to defend Jersey's interests and to promote our economy and ensure we have a sustainable community into the future. If I'm re-elected, I'd like to carry on with that. We do need a strong economy so that we can invest in key services, provide better facilities, not only for yourselves but right across the island, and make Jersey more vibrant and affordable and ensure that we provide good job opportunities. Thank you.
Serena Kirsten Guthrie.
Good afternoon. My name is Serena. One of the reasons why I'm standing here today is because I've got two young children who will be one day sitting where you are, questioning whether Jersey is the right place to stay. I'm standing here for election today because I care deeply about young people and things to do on the island, and I like to represent a government that is more representative of who you are and what you want. Thank you.
Mary Lahegara.
Hi, 25 years in policing, being promoted as the first female inspector. I believe I have strong leadership and team working skills, both privately and in private partnerships. In relation to my big thing is supporting and encouraging all-island upskilling, continual development until further and higher education is necessary so that we can promote on-island talent and encouraging islanders to return once they've finished study overseas.
Alan Lapavo.
Good afternoon. Some of you may remember me from things like Swim Safe. It's been going a long time. I'm standing because I want to work within the children's ministry. I believe that children are really important to our future, and we're not doing enough to support the young people of the island. Thank you.
Steve Luce.
Hi, my name's Steve. I was educated at St Clement's School and then Victoria College, which I survived by the skin of my teeth. I went to college in the UK, but came back and started my career with no formal qualifications at all. Since that time, I've run a number of successful businesses, and I really want to carry on working with farmers and fishermen, keeping our countryside beautiful for you guys into the future.
Alan McLean.
Jersey isn't working, it's becoming too expensive. Government is spending more than it earns, and that's not sustainable. I was the minister until 2018, and I helped introduce EasyJet, the Jersey Boat Show, expanded student finance, and controlled public spending. As a father of two teenage boys, I also know that more opportunities are needed in the island, more reasons for young people to build a future here. We need to make Jersey work for everyone, to be more affordable, grow and diversify the economy, and create good opportunities for all of you when you grow up. Thank you.
Sam Mezek.
Affordable homes, fulfilling job opportunities, and fun things to do. These are things that are all of our entitlement in a wealthy society like Jersey. And the reason we don't always have them is because our political system is completely broken. Electing new candidates itself won't fix that. The only thing that will fix it is by electing an organised political party that will work on your behalf and in your interests. And in Reform Jersey, that's exactly what you have. So on the 7th of June, please vote for the whole team to change how we do our politics.
Thank you. Time's up. Helen Miles.
Good afternoon, I'm Helen Miles. I have a background both in public service and the charitable sector. I currently chair the Corporate Services Scrutiny Panel that holds the Chief Minister and the Treasury Minister to account. I'm standing for Senator to help us deal with all our challenges, making sure Jersey has enough to offer young people, improving our education system by giving you greater choice, providing better job opportunities, and making the island more affordable to live in. Thank you.
Elaine Miller.
Hello, I'm Elaine Miller. What I'd like most for young people is that you all have a good education that enables you to go on to work, college or university, and that we support you to do that. I'd also like to see education that focuses on communication skills and also on resilience so that you know how to look after your physical and mental health into the future. I do believe that Jersey is a place of opportunity. The world certainly is, and a good education will help you, and a good skill set will help you take advantage of all of those opportunities. Thank you.
Bernard Place.
Oh, hi, I'm Bernard Place, and I am standing as an independent candidate for Senator. And the question is, does Jersey feel like a place where young people can build a life, not just spend a childhood? The answers to that will come out in the next hour, I'm sure. But one thing I've learnt on the doorstep from young people is you're not asking to be indulged, you're asking to be taken seriously, and you want somewhere to live, somewhere to belong, a politics that hear you, and public services that don't depend on private means and rich parents.
Thank you. Short and sweet. Well done, everybody. Right, we're going to move on to questions now. Before we do so, can you just give me a show of hands as to how many of you are likely to have questions, just so I've got an idea? Fabulous, loads of you. So we're going to do 30-second answers then in that case. Your questions must be very brief, please, so we can get through as many as possible, one at a time. They must also be able to be answered by each of the 16 candidates we have available. Unfortunately, Lyndon Farnham will have to disappear halfway through for a medical appointment, but he will take, obviously, questions up until then. So we've got Heidi, who's going to be doing the microphone. As soon as you've asked your question, please hand it back. Make sure you hold the microphone close so we can hear what it is. Okay, who's first?
Hi, I'm Lexi Brooks, and I'll start off with an easy one. Why do you think so many young people like us don't see a future here in Jersey?
Okay, nice and simple. Why no future? Shall we start off with Bernard? Would you like to kick us off? And then we'll move the order around.
Yes, well, it starts with, if you can't see it, you can't be it. So look at all of us. Why do you think we're not prioritising the kind of things that you need, whether that's housing or affordability or education? We say we do, but the reality is, believe what you're seeing. People are leaving the island. So there's a disconnect somewhere. And what we would want to do is find out what that is.
Thank you. I think young people are feeling despondent because people are telling them to be despondent. I do think Jersey is a place of opportunity. There are lots of jobs out there. I looked this morning, there are 418 jobs in the private sector. Now, they may not all be entry-level jobs. There are 50 jobs in the public sector. There is work out there. I meet lots of young people that are full of energy and optimism, who are buying apartments, who have got jobs. It's not as bleak as people are telling you, I think.
Hi, thank you for the question. I think half the issue is quite often young people see the challenges and not the opportunities. And I think it's incumbent on us as States members to make sure that those opportunities are quite clear and that actually we give you hope for the future and that you can actually see quite a decent roadmap, be it through education, affordable housing, cost of living. Thank you.
Jersey is a special place with so much going for it, but if you can't afford it, you can't afford it, and it's as simple as that. I think many young people look at what their parents experienced in Jersey, where the affordability ratio on earnings to house prices was much better than it is today, and they think, well, other places will offer me a faster chance of getting into home ownership and providing me the stability that I need from that. We've got to reverse that, and too many of our politicians have been scared to challenge vested interests to do that, and I think that's why some people lose hope.
I think the main reason is it's perceived to be too expensive. In reality, it is too expensive from a housing point of view, from a cost of living point of view, and there's a lack of opportunity, things to do. As I mentioned earlier, I've got 2 teenage boys, and they often say there's not enough to do here. My older boy is at university in England, and the university town offers so much. We could do more degree courses on island and give opportunities to bring students in.
Well, housing and jobs, but on the affordable housing thing, I think we need the government, the states need to take a larger share of the shared equity, so it's much cheaper for people to actually get into proper affordable housing. But on the job scene, if there's a career that you fancy, go and see people that are doing that job who have the businesses. Ask them if you can help them, offer to do some work, and pursue a career that you enjoy, because when you get up in the morning, you want to look forward to the day ahead. So do what you really want to do.
I think part of the problem is people see the employment opportunities over here as too narrow. So I think if we can diversify the economy, create new opportunities for people to go in different types of work, I think that would be far more satisfying for people. I'd also like to see us create opportunities for people to develop their careers by doing things like share a job share with another place. Okay.
Carl, do you want to take the microphone?
Thank you. Yeah, I think there is opportunity here. There's great opportunity, but the trouble is a lot of it's in finance, and if finance isn't your cup of tea, then I think you've got to look at other opportunities elsewhere. There are opportunities off the island, which a lot of young people take up, and they leave to go to university, they come back. I think that social enterprise is a great opportunity here for young people, and I think we need to put pressure on government to provide that structure.
Thank you.
I think the next government needs to find out exactly what students are doing when they go away to university, so that we actually know what your aspirations are, and then we were able to potentially offer some internments during the school holidays, or maybe assist with being able to find placements and within all sorts of careers, because at the moment I don't think we have any idea where people go to study and what they're doing.
Hi, Lexi. So for me, I think you can't see one because they're not sure that the picture's clear. I don't think the government's providing a clear picture of what it looks like when you leave the island, or if you want to come back, what that looks like either. So for me, I think currently the government has a bit of a listening problem. We have to bring people closer to our decision making. And if elected, I'd like to be able to do that, to sit down with young people and actually get an understanding of what you need, what you want from a housing and a jobs perspective, and then set a strategy to make sure that you actually are going to come back to it.
Thank you. So it's about hope, and it's about what you can afford and what you think you can achieve. And it's fair to say that there is progress being made on affordable housing with the First Step scheme. That needs to be broadened. There are jobs and opportunities out there, but we're not very good at communicating them. We use this idea that all finance jobs are the same. No, they're not. So there are opportunities there, but we need to communicate them more and deliver more of them.
Thank you. I think the government needs to do more to give you confidence, affordable housing, build more facilities, youth and leisure facilities. You've got things to do. Jersey's a safe and clean environment. But I would also encourage you to get off island, go travelling, study away, because when I did that, it made me realise how lucky I was to live here. But you often have to go away to find that out. Thank you.
Of course, the people that go to university, there are other attractions, social, sport, entertainment, and the wider world. And also the cost of living here is a problem. The cheapest accommodation, of course, is with your parents. But you can't do that forever. So perhaps a starter accommodation policy might be a good thing to consider. Thank you.
Young Jersey people have been leaving the island for centuries, and it's quite right that many young people go to university, and an island of 100,000 people will never give career opportunities for everyone. But we need a dynamic economy so those who want to stay here can. On housing, I don't think we need to talk about affordable housing. We need to reduce the cost of housing across the board, and that requires a planning policy that helps the have-nots and not the haves.
Why no future for young people in Jersey, I think, is a question we should be asking you rather than the other way around. I think Jersey essentially is a great place to be, but I think previous governments haven't done enough to provide the right facilities for you. I know that in this area we built hundreds and hundreds of flats. We provided no green space, no entertainment, no nothing. That needs to be addressed. And I think very, very simply, as you get to adulthood, if the people here do the job properly in the next 4 years, we can grow the economy, and that will give you much better prospects in 4 years' time.
The world is your oyster. Jersey is not the only place to be. Uganda is where I come from. I am here. Don't feel it's wrong for you to leave Jersey, but you know what? Home is home. Wherever you go, home is home. Opportunities are here. You'll see them better from outside. Thank you.
Okay, that's all candidates. Next question, please. In the front here, and we'll start off with Carl actually, and Carl will go down the front row this way and then go along the back row that way. Okay? Go ahead.
Hiya, I'm Zach, and I was just wondering, in what way will you support fishing and farming?
Great question. What way will you support fishing and farming, Carl?
Well, I think we've got to look out the box. This is my attitude to everything. We need a fresh approach to things generally. I think, I keep saying this, I think that the answer is social enterprise. Look it up. It works well for young people. It works well for good ideas. It's flexible. All that it needs is a little bit of structure and money, and then the opportunity is yours.
Thank you. Well, currently I understand there's an awful lot of disused glass houses, so I'd like to see the government supporting farmers to re-establish those and grow additional crops on the island. And I'd like to see working again with the fisheries, supporting our fishermen to access other areas where they can harvest. And that means working with the French, which I believe will be a bit difficult.
Thanks for the question. 3 years ago, I managed to get the states to put an extra amount of money into fishing and farming every year. That's been really successful. The young farmers particularly now see a future, but I want to keep working with them. We need to continue to invest in technology. That's the way to make life easier. Fishing and farming is a tough job to get into, but technology can help, and we need to address the challenges that are coming through the climate. Fishing and growing crops is becoming more difficult.
Thank you, Zach, for your question. I sit on the board of Genuine Jersey. I've seen firsthand what's going on in the local industry. As was mentioned a second ago, more investment's gone in, which was much needed. I think about £6 million, if I recall correctly. Improving productivity for the farming industry in particular is important. We need to grow more locally for food resilience and security. More people will enjoy our produce as well. We do export extensively. There's a lot more that could be done though, but the industry is improving and on an upward trend.
Thank you. I spoke to members of the Jersey Farming Union last week, and they explained how difficult it is to get access to private finance when you're looking to start your business or expand or buy new equipment or that kind of thing. That's why it's really important that we have supported the government loan scheme for people in those industries, and we have to absolutely make sure we maintain that so that new people wanting to go into those industries have got access to that. And there's lots more we ought to be doing to make exporting easier, and hopefully I'm going to run out of time before I can start talking about Brexit.
Yes, you have indeed.
Good.
Thank you. Farming and fishing and agriculture, totally vital to our island. It's what keeps it special. When you think about Jersey, you think about the Jersey cow, the Jersey Royal, and you think about the green fields. So I would continue to support the industry in terms of the finance with their loans. But I also think we need to stand up for Jersey when it comes to fishing rights, as Sam mentioned, around Brexit in particular. And also for young farmers, I think we need to free up some of the planning regulations so that they can actually create homes on the land that they're farming.
Hello, Zach. Well, as other people have mentioned, we've already got existing schemes that both give subsidies and loans, and I have signed off some quite significant loans to farmers in Jersey. I think it's also it would also help if we could make it easier for them to sell their produce, whether that's locally or by exporting it. Jersey is one of the few places that doesn't seem to have a farmer's market. I'm told there's one coming. We have French markets, but not a farmer's market in Jersey in the Royal Square. So I'd like to see that happening sooner rather than later. Thank you.
Like Sam, I was with the farmers last week, and what they said was that the majority of the investment from government has gone into farming. We need to now move that into supporting fisheries more actively. There is a future in smallholding and small-scale farming that a lot of young people are getting into. And finally, I think the government could be doing more by preferred procurement for its services, whether that's school meals or institutional meals, meals on wheels and so on. We could become actually much more preferred as a supplier.
Thank you. Do Martin next year.
For anything to continue, the young people need to be involved. And I think there is a missing link here. We will talk about funding, every other thing, but as long as we do not have the continuity to interest our young people into farming, the future is bleak in farming. So I would want to support the connection of introducing farming to young people to be involved and revive Young Farmers Association. Thank you.
I was involved in agriculture for about 40 years, so I know a tiny bit about this. It's not easy to make money in modern agriculture now, particularly with the stretch of expensive water between here and the UK. Government puts quite a lot of money into the farming industry, and I think we've probably balanced the on-land farming off reasonably well. Fishing is something I think we need to put a bit more focus on, and if the first person I'd go and see if that job came to me is Steve Luce, because I think he knows more about fishing than the rest of us put together. Thank you.
I also went to the briefing from the agricultural industry. It was great. Two things really struck me. One was planning. Actually, farmers need buildings as well, and I heard complaints about the difficulty they have in getting the buildings they need. Finance, that point's been made by others. Very difficult to get the money they need from banks. The government stepped into the market. That's really good. That scheme needs to be developed.
I would support continuing grants and loans to the industry, that's fishing and farming and horticulture as well, and even promote allotments somewhere to encourage some of us as well. And I think there needs to be confidence so that those people can invest for future sustainability, and we can help that by buying local.
Thank you, Alan. I'd like to see the continuation of access to capital for the farmers and fishers. That's really important. The government has a scheme. We need to build upon that. I'd really love to see a change in consumer behaviour where we stop buying very expensive, attractive-looking, pre-packed vegetables and buy local again. So I think the government and the states can do more to encourage and market that. Thank you.
I suppose carry on doing what I've already been doing. So, as you know, post-Brexit, exports have become extremely difficult. We're in the middle of negotiating a new SPS agreement with the European Union, so you'll get back to where you were before Brexit happened for exports of fishing and agriculture, and that's critically important. We're on the verge of a CVEP in Granville, which is a veterinary centre, which will also alleviate it, and I support, of course, the agricultural and fisheries loans being extended. Thank you.
Not much more to add from me. I'm in agreement with many of my candidates up here. I think something that we need to continue to do is to try to diversify agriculture over here, and the incentive schemes that already exist. It'd be great for the next government to keep pushing that out. I think we need to be, in terms of the fishing industry, I know we've covered about 23% is protected, and I think we could go a step further and around what do we need to protect and where do we need to kind of replenish fish so we can keep our fishermen fishing and selling well.
In relation to the financial side, I think what we need to look at is the long term. So effectively, to set up a business is very expensive. So what other countries do now is that they have loans that go for a longer term. So instead of maybe being 30 years, it goes to 60. So it goes from one part of the family and moves down to the younger generation. So that therefore the ability to be able to get a loan would be better, and therefore the younger person would be able to be assisted along the way, and it would be a continual thing.
Okay, fabulous. Next question. You were at the back there in the grey shirt. You were first up.
My name's Ashley. I'm aware some members standing for election put forward the proposal for the return of senators. As senators have been reinstated for this election, do you believe as senators are an essential role, and why?
Okay, well, they're all standing for senator, so I guess you all do. Right, so let's start with Mary. You haven't started first, have you? Shall we start with yourself?
I think the role of senator is essential, mostly because I think it's a good thing to have an island-wide mandate, and the public actually do like the fact of having an island-wide mandate, and so that they're able to choose 9 positions, whereas depending where you live, like I live in St Martin's Greville, there is only 2 deputies, and there was only 3 before. So I think people feel that they've got more opportunity to make a choice.
As a newcomer into politics, I felt quite strongly that I wanted to represent an island-wide mandate, mainly because of my global experience through within sport. However, I do feel like when the 7th of June has come and gone, I do feel like we need to look to the best set of skill sets around ministerial government, because there will be 49 brains and skill sets in there that we'll have to consider to make sure that we're selecting the right council of ministers to take on the challenges in the next government.
I do support the office of senator because I think the island-wide mandate is important for a number of ministerial positions, one of which is the job of Chief Minister, I think the External Relations Minister, I think the Treasury Minister, because they should be accountable to every elector. There is, of course, an argument, which no doubt Sam will make, that actually many more of the offices should be island-wide voted, with the exception of Constable. But let's stick with
Thank
senators as we've got them. Thank you.
Thank you. Unlike other places, we have one chamber, the States Chamber. We don't have an upper house. We don't have devolved assemblies, county councils, town councils, city councils. That's why we have three types of states member. Deputies represent constituencies, constables represent the parish, senators represent the island-wide mandate, which allows a degree of flexibility. Senators are not compromised by constituency issues. I could talk for about an hour on this. Can I just say, though, that I do have to go to a medical appointment now. It's what happens when you get old. You have to do these sort of things more often. But don't worry, it's not serious, so don't lose sleep over it. And if you have any further questions for me, please drop me an email. The email's on the leaflet. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I was a deputy for 15 years and a senator for 6, and it didn't really make any difference for me. I took propositions and amendments, and I dealt with people across the island on an individual basis. I'm not there to be President of the United States. I'm there to make a contribution, and we need contributions from all members across the House, really, from different backgrounds, and that's what will make things work for you.
Yes, for all the reasons that Ian Gorst gave, but Jersey's got the lowest turnout in the world, okay? Particularly among young people, it's negligible almost. And we need to ask why. You go to the polls, you're given 3 bits of paper, asked to vote for up to 14 people. Most people haven't got a clue of the difference between the various types of member. So we need to ask why and have a look at that. So all in favour of senators, but let's work out why we've got such a low turnout. In the UK, you get 1 vote and people use it. In Jersey, you get 14 and people don't use it.
Thank you.
I think we get a low turnout because we all do a lousy job, but that's just a personal opinion. Joke, by the way. Yeah, the return of senators. I was very pleased to have them come back. It gives every voter a lot more choice, and I was really aggrieved when they were removed. I felt really restricted, so I'm really pleased they're back on. And what it does do is it provides an island-wide mandate for those who are seeking a ministerial office. Thank you.
I came in because it's an island-wide mandate, and also having noticed that the island is becoming more multicultural, and I thought I should bring a mix of the group, because I would be speaking for a number of people that may not get the confidence to actually put themselves forward. So I think I make a representation of the silent majority of the minority people. Thank you.
I think the senatorial post is absolutely essential because with an island-wide mandate, it attracts people with the skills and the experience that feel that they can address those issues. Me, for one, I'm standing for health and care. I've got experience in both. I also bring experience from financial services and community interests, so that gives you an idea as to what I think a senatorial post should achieve.
Thank you. Bernard, do you want to go next?
Yes, I think it's great that senators are back, but what I don't agree with is that senators, you should be a deputy before you're a senator. That's actually a way of excluding lots of talent who see that or think that being a senator is a promotion. And that also you're not voting for ministers here, you're voting for people with an island-wide mandate. Both those things combined together, it's a promotion, and you can't do it unless you've been X and done the entry job first, are antipathetic to
Time's up.
democracy on the island.
Well, Ashley, I like to take the credit for bringing senators back because it was my proposition. And I brought that proposition because when I spoke to people in 2022, a lot of them were absolutely furious that they'd lost senators. They felt they'd been disenfranchised. They'd gone from having 10 or 11 votes to having 3 or 4. And they really felt the loss of they perceive senators have a different perspective. Some politicians don't like it, but the public it really matters to them. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to agree with everything that Deputy Elaine Miller said, but just to add to that as well, I think voter flexibility is important. I think the larger mandate of voters actually legitimates delivery of your manifesto commitments, notwithstanding the fact that we only have one vote. And I also would challenge that our system is complicated. I don't think voters are given enough credit for understanding the system. It's not that complicated compared to elsewhere.
A few years back, there was a public referendum on this, and 80% of the public who voted to abolish senators. So it's complete nonsense to say that the public are really interested in this issue. They prefer that our governments were getting on with the job of making your life better, rather than squabbling over what title people have got. If an island-wide mandate is so important, why do you only apply it to 9 of our politicians, but not the other 40 who can outvote the island-wide elected ones 4 times over? Our voting system's a complete catastrophe. We should have one type of member, and they should all be elected island-wide.
It's hard to follow that, really. Sadly, I don't agree with Sam on that. I was elected as senator in 2008. It was the last of the 6-year term, and I think that's an important point because although senators have come back and the island-wide mandate is important for senior ministerial roles, I think also the longer 6-year term was also important. It tended to lead to longer-term decision-making, which the island desperately needs, not short-termism. We need longer-term thinking, longer-term planning, and that's why a longer term for senators was the combination that worked really well.
Thank you.
Ashley, I want to carry on being Environment Minister because that's representing everything to do with the land, to do with the sea, farming, fishing, the countryside, beaches, our territorial waters, and I think it's only right that I stand for election across the whole island because I don't want to pick between Greve de Lec or La Roque or St Bullards or St Catharines. Our environment is everything, and I think everybody should vote for senators.
Great, last, thanks. I actually agree with Sam. Absolutely, we need to increase the number of people in the states with an island-wide mandate. Last election, I only had to reject one person. That was my choice, reject one, which was ridiculous when I knew there were people I felt would bring a lot to the government in other districts. So I'm really glad Senatorial's back. Thank you.
Lovely, thank you. That's everybody answering that question. Next question, please. They're in the black stroke grey brown. Sorry, not very good at my colours, obviously.
My name is Jacob, and I believe there is an issue with workers' rights on the islands. For example, the right to disclose pay to colleagues. I was wondering if and what you will do to improve workers' rights on the island.
Improving workers' rights. We'll start off with Tom Binet, if you wouldn't mind, Tom. What would you do to improve workers' rights on the island, especially in relation to disclosing pay, etc., like that?
Workers' rights to
disclosing pay. You mean sort of that often pay is not transparent? Is that what you're talking about? Or the pay gap? Do you mean the pay gap? Okay, isn't that your unions? No, okay. To discuss about pay, okay. Right, so transparency over what you're paid and being able to discuss that with your colleagues, etc. So what would you do to improve worker rights within the island?
I'm going to have to admit to having a degree of ignorance. I've been in business for a very long time, and I've never come across a situation where people have been banned from talking to each other. I didn't think we could ban people from talking to each other about their wages. So I have to say I'm not going to try and invent something. It's not something I'm close to, and so I'm not going to try and invent an answer. Thanks.
think I largely agree with that. The solution to every problem is not another law. We're not short of laws in Jersey. We've got far too many trying to tell people what to do and what not to do. So I don't support any more that needs to be done. People can talk freely. We shouldn't stop them. Workers' rights are important, but we need to make sure they're in the interests of workers. And I think not all measures that are designed to protect workers actually do that.
Yeah, I'm involved with a small company, and as well as paying well above minimum wage, we provide accommodation, provide food, and we provide social backup. We register them with GPs, bank accounts, and all that. And we really look after our workers, and that's the way forward. And we have a very small turnover of staff, and that's the reason.
Thank you for the question. It's not a problem that I've encountered or considered. I'd have thought that the presumption of openness should be across contracts, but I can see that there might be special cases where that presumption may not take place, but I'd have to go and investigate to see what the stumbling block actually is.
Hi, Jacob. Yeah, thanks for your question. I'm quite shocked to hear that, like many of the other candidates here. I think if that exists, we certainly need to rip whatever legislation that allows that to happen, because it's not moral and it's not right. And for me, all I've got here is lifting raise the curtain on what equality means for workers on this island, because I do think it's inconsistent, and that's something that the government obviously needs to address.
It is something that I've heard of before. It certainly happens in accountancy firms and the finance industry. People don't generally talk about what they're paid in relation to bonuses, etc. It's fairly confidential. So I think the thing is that if you've got a contented workforce, then hopefully you shouldn't need to have further legislation in order to deal with that.
I agree with most of the statements that have been said here, but I find it quite horrific that anyone's going to be put into a place where they can't have a conversation with a colleague about anything. And I think that's about maybe a little bit of a breach of a human rights law. Thank you.
Hi, I spent the first 10 years of my life as an employee. I know what it feels like when your boss pushes you hard and you feel uncomfortable and you're unhappy. So when I started employing people, I was in a much better position. I've always paid people a little bit over the odds. I don't recognise what you're saying, but if there is an issue, we must get over that somehow, because it's important everybody knows what everybody else is being paid, and people shouldn't worry about it in that way, if you like, but I think people should be happy at work.
Thank you.
Yes, workers' rights are clearly important. I wasn't aware it was a specific problem. One has to be careful about too much legislation because there's a cost associated with that. It's absolutely right that workers can communicate with each other, and pay should be based on ability and performance related. So same jobs can have differing pay structures based on the performance levels, but there's no reason why there shouldn't be open discussion about it.
I've only ever anecdotally heard of this happening and heard of people who've at the very least felt a lot of pressure not to talk about it, and I think that that's wrong. The rights for working people to organise within their workplaces is a fundamental human right that we must never get in the way of. Everybody should have the right to join a trade union. Everybody should have the right to take part in collective bargaining on pay and terms and conditions, and that ought to be something that we apply across the board.
Thank you very much for the question. Again, I don't think we need any further legislation to any additional legislation. We've already got employment law, we've already got discrimination law, and most importantly, we've got tribunals which deal with the poor effects of that. And the government also have set up the Jersey Advisory Conciliation Service as well, which is the first port of call for employees to discuss issues such as those you've raised.
Thank you, Jacob. I'm a lawyer. I've done quite a lot of employment law, and I've never seen a contract that says that, and it's not something that I've ever heard of before. I'm not suggesting it doesn't happen. What matters is that people are being paid fairly for the job they're doing, whether regardless of gender. So we don't want gender disparity. That's why we do need to do more on gender pay gap reporting. But I do believe that Jersey is a fair place. We also have to remember the vast majority of employers in Jersey have fewer than 5 employees. The more law we have, the more difficult it is for them to recruit. Thank you.
Yes, the models you describe actually are fairly common, more common in America. And we often see the European market follow an American lead. I think the solution really is the recognition that the success of any company is about a culture of doing it together, the whole team doing it. There are very few heroes that make companies work. It's often a great team effort from the shop floor to the boardroom, and those kind of models of repayment are, I think, unhelpful in the Jersey context.
Thank you. Carl next, if somebody could just hand Carl a microphone.
Thank you. Well, it sounds from the candidates that have preceded me here that there are rules and regulations already in place which are running, it sounds, adequately. All that I can add is that I think we need to create a caring environment across the board where people don't slip through the net, and I think that's the best way to make sure that we address it.
You pass to Martin, thank you.
I think the best way is what you're doing. You're already pulling a curtain over this problem. If elected, my role is to support people like you in directing you to go to the right places and so that you receive the right support. Because as colleagues have said, there's rules and regulations in place.
Thank you. And Jacob, I suggest you have a chat with some of the candidates afterwards, if you have something specific. Okay, next question, in the middle row there. And I'll come to you next in the afterwards.
Hi, I'm Alex. Mine's short, so you should be able to stick to time. If you were elected for centre, who would you vote for Chief Minister and why?
Okay, where are we going to start this time? Shall we start with Mark? Are you with us, Mark?
I've got my Starmer answer. I'm entirely focused on getting elected as a senator, and I think it's quite premature to talk about what might happen afterwards.
Very diplomatic.
Yeah, of course, nobody's been elected yet, but I was asked this question at the gathering at Highlands, and my answer was Lyndon Farnan. Lyndon and I have worked together over many years, and he steadied things down because the previous 2 years, from 2002 to 2003 to the end of 2004, was a bit chaotic and financially not very good at all, and Lyndon has settled that down, and he would get my support if he gets elected and if I get elected. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to follow others. It's difficult to say until we know who's elected and actually where they've come in the list, because what we'll be looking for is a Chief Minister that's going to be able to bring the Assembly together and act on a combined, almost, manifesto of all the candidates to deliver the change that people are voting for.
Great question. I think for me, I'm still getting to know all of the candidates up here tonight, and I think we have to really think carefully who we want to be our next leader from a chief ministerial point of view. I'm looking for someone who is going to bring people together and actually wants to work as a team, because that's what's been lacking in government. As much as we have been saying that we want to work together, it's not been happening enough. So I'll be looking for someone willing to actually want to lead a group of people, including the backbenchers, so we can all start pulling in the right direction.
That is a difficult and challenging question from the point of view that we don't all know each other. I would suggest, even though it's been a long journey for us, we all don't know each other well enough. And I think if we were selecting somebody now, we might not actually get the best person. So I think we really need to make some decisions. Once the election's happened, you sit and you look and you think and you all discuss.
Bernard, you got the microphone, so
Yeah, so we need to be really careful here, because you've heard people say they want to be ministers. along this podium here. So what in the reality will be, there'll be some trading between, will I withhold my vote for a particular candidate for Chief Minister or won't I? That's the reality of politics. And so I'm not able to say who I would vote for because I too am focused on trying to get elected in the first place.
Afraid also it depends. It depends who gets elected, who puts themselves forward. We talked earlier about the role of senator and deputy. There is no reason why a very talented or very capable deputy should not put themselves forward. That is within the scope of if they have enough support from the Assembly, a deputy could stand as well. It depends on what we're looking at on Monday. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, it depends. I would support the candidate who aligns best with my values, has strong and proven leadership skills, can bring people together and has the interests of Jersey at the heart.
Your question has exposed the flaw with Jersey's voting system because almost no candidate has given you a direct answer to that question. So when you cast your vote, you've got no idea who those candidates will support. In my view, we should have the same system that most places have, which is that after an election, it's the leader of the largest party who has the first opportunity to become Chief Minister. My second preference would be for Lyndon Farnham.
I don't think anyone's going to answer your question, Alex. My view is the same, I think, as other candidates. I'd want to see which candidate had the most to offer in terms of leadership, and after the election, we've seen how well they performed. We'll be much clearer on that picture. Difficult to answer it now, I'm afraid. Sorry.
Alex, I'm the only person who's putting himself forward for a particular job. I want to stay being Environment Minister. If I can get myself elected, I'll then look to see who's going to give me the opportunity to do the best job for the environment. And only at that time will I know which way I'll vote.
I'm aiming to be in the Children's Ministry. I'm hoping to be Children's Minister. So I'll be looking for somebody who would support me to get into that role. And I'll be looking for someone with integrity, honesty, leadership skills and a good level of intelligence and capability. I also believe that the people of Jersey should elect the head of the House, not within the Assembly. So there we go.
Yes, I do think that it's early days, very early days, because we don't know one another. The incumbents, they're the people that have already been in, have worked with one another, but the new candidates, if we get in, we haven't. So it is a bit early to say. But my inclination as a member of the public would be Tom Binney. He's worked very, very well under pressure in health, and I would be looking to work in the health and care sector.
Thank you. He's after your job, Tom.
I'd go for Lyndon. Why? He's been there the last 2 years, so continuity is very healthy. There's some members here who have been there. I don't know why they're twisting around. They should be open to us and tell us they worked with Lyndon. Why wouldn't they say Lyndon's name? Okay, thank you.
Like Mark, my principal focus is on getting elected first. The business of Chief Minister is an awkward one, but if I do get through the process, what I'll be looking for is somebody with a very clear vision of where Jersey needs to go in the next 4 years, and I'd have to have the confidence that they are capable of putting that vision into action. Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you. So everybody, right, there was a question here on from girl with the white top, wasn't there? You had a question. Yeah.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Penelope, and I would like to ask, what is one project that you would like to introduce or continue in Jersey if you were elected as Senator? Thank you.
Lovely. Okay, we'll start with Carl on this one, and we'll... So the question is, what is one project that you would like to start or continue if you were elected in Jersey? So...
Thank you so much for that question. I'm standing for one thing, health and care. You would have seen 2 adverts in the JEP over the last week. We, as an island, only achieve 50% of the required activity that a country in Western Europe should achieve. I would focus on health and care. Both need community interest, social enterprise.
If I'm lucky enough to get elected, I would like to see a massive increase in play spaces for younger children and places where older young people can hang out. So that's where I'd be focusing on. I'm quite happy to get rid of the Apple Crusher in King Street and put a roundabout in there. I don't think it would be very popular, but I think it'd be good fun.
Thanks, Penelope. On my pamphlet, which is on your chair, you'll see, I think it's on the second page, local, buy local is the thing I'm on about, and I want in the next session, if I can, to get more farmers and get the fishing community working harder so we get more local produce on our plates in Jersey, in the restaurants, at home, in the hotels. That's one of the things I really want to do in the next 4 years.
Thank you, Penelope. It has to be the hospital if I'm fortunate enough to be elected. Tom has done an excellent job. I think he should continue doing that job and get it completed, and have very tight budgetary controls on the expenditure. Obviously, the budget has increased enormously since 2017 when I had a solution. It was 466 million. We're now up to 710 for part of that, but I think Tom needs to finish the job he started.
Thank you, Penelope. In the last 2 years, I've run a really successful first-time buyer scheme called First Step, which has helped lots of people buy their first home. But it was always on a trial run to see how it worked, and it had limited funding. So if I were to be re-elected, and if I were to end up housing minister again, then I'd be pushing for more funding to expand that scheme so that we can try to restore confidence in our young people that the government is on their side in trying to become homeowners. And I think that scheme works really well, and I'd want to carry it on.
Thank you for the question. I chaired a review panel into the relationship between parish and government, and what I would like to see is each of the parishes develop a youth council so that the voice of youth is reflected at grassroots community level. Not something that's terribly complicated to do, but I think we need to hear the voices of youth in the parish much more when it comes to terms of play and other facilities.
This isn't a very interesting subject for young people, but pensions. When I was Social Security Minister, I worked very hard to try and develop some form of secondary pension scheme for Jersey. There's only about 30% of employees in Jersey have access to pension schemes. It's very difficult to get a private one if you're not a high earner. So we were trying to develop a scheme that everybody could go into from an early age for a secure old age. That's important, and I'd like to carry on with that work.
I'd like to carry on the work about online harms, using your experience and the wisdom you have, because you're over 16 now, so you've got a lot to feed back into that system. I think for much younger people, we're facing some really tough issues arising from online harm, and that's an area that I would particularly want to take forward.
Without a doubt, the hospital has to be the priority. From the point of view, 2 elections, it's been thrown out. But from my own personal point of view, I think we need a new fire station, ambulance station, and the prison needs work as well. So I think those projects need to come forward without delay.
Hi, Penelope. Something that I'm deeply passionate about is the good that sport can do for children, and so I would like to put PE teachers back into primary schools to give kids the physical literacy that they deserve. I think sport creates healthy minds, resilient people to help face the challenges of today, and I want to better invest in the first 10 years of a young person's life so they're able to deal with those challenges.
Thank you. Carry on with the competitiveness work in the financial services industry. A report called Time to Win, to make sure that there are good jobs and a growing number of jobs available for all islanders, and more than that, extend it out right across the whole of the economy. Thank you.
Yeah, mine's a bit boring. I'd like to look at the public accounts, be on the committee, and focus on better use of public funds, scrutinise, cut waste, support of essential services like health and education, and I believe there is some waste in the system, and that's what I'd like to be a project to concentrate on.
I'd like to see a higher education campus in town, not at Highlands, providing on-island higher education for those students who prefer to stay here or for whom going to the UK is not viable, and which can offer a range of postgraduate courses. We need to be a centre of excellence in a number of areas, not a University of Jersey, but universities in Jersey.
Obviously for me, it's got to be the new hospital, but after that, the ongoing development of Gloucester Street for an ambulatory site and the health village out at St Saviour's. But there are other things that are important too. I'd like to see us revamping our finance industry. I think we should spend serious money revamping our town centre, building more sports facilities and promoting Jersey much more aggressively overseas so that we can get more people over here spending more of their money.
Mental health in young people is a big problem right now. There's so many things happening that if you look at all kinds of health, when it starts in your head, you can't manage the rest of your body. But if your belly or any other part of your body is unwell and your mind is fine, then you can manage yourself better. So I want to help with mental health seriously. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, that is it. Time's up. I'm really sorry. Not got any time for any more questions because the event was an hour. However, please do email any questions you have. I know, and you can chat to the candidates afterwards anyway. You'll be able to find all contact details on the vote.je website, along with the manifestos of all the candidates. Thank you for all your questions, for Heidi for passing around the microphone, for 3CI for our broadcast partners, and the Youth Service, of course, for hosting us. Don't forget that election day is Sunday the 7th. If you are eligible for voting, you can take your photo ID with you and go along there. It's automatic voter registration this year. You can remind your parents of that. And so if you need to double check that, there's a facility on the vote.je website homepage for doing that electronically, or you can always ask your parish. But once again, thank you all for coming, and thank you to the candidates. Could I just ask the JYA members to stay behind, please?